family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, your boss. Nobody's off limits. I'm licensed psychologist Dr. Claudia McCulloch, your host, answering your questions, America. So give me a call, 833-400-5050. It's fun. Don't worry. Don't be shy. Nobody can see you. It's great. Or go online at drclaudia.net. Click on the Ask Me button. On Facebook, I'm at Dr. Claudia McCulloch. That's McCulloch. Cha-cha-cha. Yes, indeedy. Lori Loughlin and her husband. Yes, they have decided to go ahead and plead guilty. Boy, there's been a little kerfuffle going on with, the government's hiding things, and I wonder what happened. Wouldn't you love to be that fly on the wall that says, what are they talking about over there? Well, they have decided that the jig is up and that they better face the music, because if they really make the government angry, the government, they have such ways of dealing with you. And of course, we have seen administrations in the past use the IRS as a bat to whack your senses into you. And maybe that's a little something that's been going on. You better believe they're not going to say a thing until they are well beyond this. And if they're really smart, they'll never say a thing about it. She is going to be serving 2 months in prison. Betcha $20. Who's up for that, huh? Betcha $20 that she serves every minute. No Felicity Huffman stuff for you, little Miss Loughlin. She's got a $150,000 fine. She's going to be doing 2 years of supervised release, which means she probably has to go into a parole office somewhere and be around all of the great unwashed, shall we say. And then she's got to do 100 hours of community service. Her husband, for whatever reason, clearly the email and correspondence evidence, I'm suspicious, has shown that he was the major mover on this thing. He was the point man. He gets 5 months. He gets a $250,000 fine, 2 years of supervised release, and 250 hours of community service. At least somebody's held accountable. Are you up to here with the people in government who are committing what appear to be sedition, upsetting the government, violating the government, and possibly out and out treason, selling us down the river for cash? And there don't seem to be many consequences for these folks. Now, if it was you and me, we get the death penalty for jaywalking. What does it take when you are a person of importance, especially a person of importance in Congress, let's say, or you're one of those unelected people who actually write laws and make policy, and hey, you didn't get my vote because I've never heard of you. And yet there they are. They're out there causing all kinds of problems, and nobody ever seems to pay a price for this stuff. It's very dispiriting for us, isn't it? It doesn't allow us to be motivated to participate in government. If they're going to be doing all the marionette things, all the puppeteers, we got to be careful and guard against this. Because people do come to justice, and it's not just our average Joes. So be heartened. I think this next round of investigations will show just how brazen is really the word I'm looking for. Brazenly, people in government have decided that they can behave, and they're immune. Remember, you're not them. Of course you know that. But our feet are held to the fire. Even if we do follow the rules, that doesn't mean we're immune from getting into trouble, because we can be blamed for lots of things. And then, folks get into trouble because of they're at the wrong place at the wrong time, and somebody says, well, you did it. We see that with rape accusations. We know how the mind works. The human mind says, yeah, if somebody says that's right, we just go right along with it. Come on, we're smart. We have brains. We can reason. The biggest problem here is that none of us ever really know the truth anymore. Because who's telling us these stories? The government and the media. We don't have anybody yet we can really count on to tell us the truth. And if you're an enterprising person and you have the wherewithal to start a news service that can be trusted, yeah, it's going to take you years to prove that you're really worthwhile. It's going to take years for you to prove that you are telling the truth, and you have to stay motivated to tell the truth. It's going to be very difficult for us to believe anything. We cannot come to conclusions unless we actually see the person and they are live and they are saying what they're saying. That's it. Our reality is that we can't trust anybody or anything unless we experience it for ourselves. Okay. Election season is coming up. You don't want to get out there and go to a campaign event? You better get out there, because all of this stuff starts at the local level. Now I understand why my dad, a survivor, shall we say, of World War II, he said, you have to vote in every election that is. You have to vote in the library elections, because you don't know the person who runs the libraries. Next, they're going to be running for city commissioner or the mayor. And then they go up from there, and you have to watch them to see if they are true to their word. Are they really true to their service? Or are they just putting themselves out there as somebody they think you want to vote for instead of who they really are? My dad had a lot of wisdom. Now, when I was 15, 16, I didn't think he knew anything. But he said when these folks get on the other side of the desk, they change completely. Nope, there's never any guarantees. How many of you write in and call in and say to me that, gosh, this person has changed so much since I married her. Gosh, what happened here? And for years, I have wondered about that too. It's because maybe they were hiding. They were wearing a mask. And only they will reveal themselves when they want to. So you can never be sure about anything, can you? And after 25 years of working in private practice and decades of working with families, one thing I know is that people do change, but the cues were always there. And I've been working on a book about just that. What questions do you need to ask? What do you need to know so that 2 years after you say, I do, you'll be ready for what happens, because you were expecting it, because I asked you to ask those questions. This is the Dr. Claudia Show.
Dr. Claudia wants to hear from you. Ask your question. 833-400-5050. That's 833-400-5050. Or go online at drclaudia.net and click on the Ask Me button.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-506-6740. 800-506-6740. That's 800-506-6740.
Are you from California, Illinois, New York, Georgia, or any of the other 39 states that charge state income tax? Does your state claim you owe them any amount of back taxes? Or have you not filed in years? Is your heart pounding because you know they're wrong or you just don't have the money? Don't fight the state income tax board alone. The tax doctor is here to help you. The state is much more aggressive than the IRS in collecting taxes. They have the power to take your home, your car, your driver's and business licenses, even garnish your wages, freeze your bank accounts, and go after your spouse. Solve all your income tax problems permanently and keep more of your hard-earned money. Make this 100% guaranteed risk-free call right now.
800-262-4182. 800-262-4182. 800-262-4182. That's 800-262-4182.
Sweet strawberry icing.
Welcome to the Dr. Claudia Show. Dr. Claudia is ready to answer your questions. Call now, 833-400-5050. Here's Dr. Claudia.
On the Dr. Claudia Show, we talk about the things that matter, your life and your relationships. What could be more important than that? Yeah, I know money's important. And we're all sweating bullets to see what's going to happen when things get started. We're going to have to work a lot harder. That's the bottom line. Don't know if school's starting in the fall. There are so many things that we can't predict at this point that people are starting to succumb, frankly, to some of the stressors. And I'm seeing that a group of 600 doctors have signed a letter to President Trump pushing him to end the national shutdown because it is eventually going to be what they're describing as a mass casualty incident with exponentially growing health consequences. Now, they're talking about we're going to have orders of magnitude increases in problems. An order of magnitude usually means, if on November 1st it's 1, on November 6th it could be 10, and then 100. So it usually increases by 10 times. And what they're saying makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? That patients are missing routine checkups that could detect heart problems and cancer. So there's a real serious increase in substance abuse, severe child abuse, domestic violence. I'm being called by a number of radio stations to come on and talk about that. What can we do to reduce some of these incidences? Because once you get involved in the justice system, using that term loosely, then it creates a whole other set of problems for you. They're saying that the financial instability is really at the core of all of this because it leads to poverty and that domino effect of one thing starts, gee, my tooth is hurting, gosh, I have this crushing pain in my chest, I don't want to go to the emergency room, I might get COVID-19 on top of all of it. They're saying, once again, that what's going on is being massively underreported and massively underestimated. We don't even really know, do we? As a nation of people, truly how many deaths we're experiencing and the level of infection. So I encourage you to go online and read this letter that has been submitted to the president, because it makes sense, right? That's really all we can really count on, is that we can make sense. So we've got these kids we've got all kinds of people, but we have kids who are really vulnerable to these situations. Look around at your own family. You have a kid who's now having to participate in a drive-through graduation. Okay, that might be a little charming and certainly gives the kid a little bit of attention, public attention, which is what we need. Look, this is what you've done. You and your family have crossed the finish line together on this whole high school thing and college graduation. But it's not the traditions. You get a real feel now, right, for why traditions are important. Because they suggest that you're part of the herd. This is the continuing culture. And now you're going to have photos that you're going to talk to your kid about, that I had a drive-through graduation. Now, people are really creative, and their kids who are missing their friends, they're having drive-by birthday parties and birthday celebrations. You dress up the car and you drive through the neighborhoods of your friends, and everybody runs out and wishes you a happy birthday and maybe throws gifts at you or whatever. And at least it's a celebratory break in the doldrums. But kids who are counting, young people who are counting on graduating with advanced degrees, PhDs, master's degrees, so they can get out and get a job, take those licensing tests, they're not going to be able to do it because the schools are closed. They're providing some online services, and that's no substitute. It's hard to say you've come this far and now you have to put off your future, especially if you're a person who has a history of depression. Yeah, it's treated. Yeah, you're doing okay with it, as long as life pretty much toodles along on schedule. Don't wait for your child to start showing signs of depression that you can actually see. You are going to have to sit down with them on a regular basis and talk with them about how they're coping with this. Just because they're adults doesn't mean they can handle it. They do not have your experience. They do not have a lot of opportunities, possibly, to cope with these kinds of things. As Mary Tyler Moore says, it's easy to be brave when you've only experienced wonderful things in your life. These kids are hitting major bumps that no one could have anticipated when we plugged in our crystal ball long about January, when we started getting word that something was coming out of Wuhan. And now look at what it's done to our country. Very few people have competent coping skills in this situation. Make no assumptions. When you make assumptions, you may end up living with consequences you didn't anticipate at all. They were out there. They were distant galaxies. Got a kid who's graduating with a master's degree, maybe a medical degree. I have heard nothing about medical schools being shut down. Law schools. They were counting on finishing this, and now they've been gut-kicked. Stay close to them. Get your finger on the pulse of their emotional state and see how they're doing with this. Don't be surprised by a sudden and impulsive suicide attempt. You do not want to have that kind of surprise in your life. Make sure that they can communicate to you that they're looking forward to when this is over and I get to start really studying for the bar exam and taking those preparatory classes. Listen to those key words. I'm invested in the future. I'm looking forward to a future. This is what I'm doing to help myself. You're their parents. You're their mentors. Stay close. This is the Dr. Claudia Show.
Dr. Claudia is ready to answer your questions. Call now, 833-400-5050. That's 833-400-5050.
What kind of career are you looking for? Do you dream of using your creative talents in the movie business? How about the advertising world? Or would you rather work in fashion? At Academy of Art University, we can help you get the art and design skills and experiences that employers want. Hundreds of top companies in the Bay Area and around the world have hired graduates from the Academy. You'll be trained by professional faculty members that have worked in the industry, so your education is practical and focused on what real-world companies want. You can get your degree at our San Francisco campus or anywhere online. Do what you want to do with your life. Call right now to get more information.
800-811-4169. 800-811-4169. 800-811-4169. That's 800-811-4169.
Welcome to the Dr. Claudia Show. Dr. Claudia is ready to answer your questions. Call now, 833-400-5050. Here's Dr. Claudia.
We are the best self-help around. You don't have to buy a book and read it, go to a seminar or a class or none of that. All you have to do is listen. So we're taking a question from Frank. Frank said, I heard you talking to the caller last week about her husband and their communication problems. She said when she talks to him about something that concerns her, he walks away and says, I guess you've married a jerk. This is exactly what goes on here. You're right about not being able to keep up with what other people are saying. It's been a problem for me all of my life, and I wasn't a good student. I've always wanted to go to college, but I didn't. I had my own successful plumbing business and sold it 2 years ago so I could retire. I read and write just fine, but when people talk, I swear they think I'm stupid. I was shocked to hear you say that he should consider medication for attention deficit disorder. The woman said that her husband had been diagnosed with it, I guess when he was younger. I'm wondering if this is the case for me. I'm glad you shared about your husband and how he got treated. Is it too late for me? How do I even go about this? Frank, here's what I say about this. And the 25 years I was in private practice, I said, you still breathing? Yeah. If you're still breathing, it's worth it. Now, on show notes today that I'm going to put up right after the show is over, it'll come up, the blog post will come up on drclaudia.net, and it will give you some resources, Frank, as to, first of all, you figure out if you think you have ADHD. Go down the list of symptoms that's printed there. It's going to be a link to the Mayo Clinic. I like their crisp, clean presentation, not a lot of psychobabble. And it tells you, from an adult perspective, what you might be experiencing. Now, I'm not saying that it is ADHD because symptoms of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder overlap at least 17 other mental health conditions. And I'm not even talking about the physical problems. You know, if you have chemo brain, if you've just had a baby, if you've done two shifts of 18 hours, then you're going to look ADHD. And this is about, the diagnosis really, Frank, is about, is it a functional impairment? Does it keep you from functioning in life? Now, I don't know how fast you had to pedal to keep up with your plumbing business, and if you had to have your wife working with you so she could be the talker in the business, but you're telling me that it's a real problem for you, that you may experience the same thing that Denise's husband was experiencing, in that when the words start coming, he gets overwhelmed and he has difficulty listening and then formulating a response. Now, if you feel that you qualify, I want you to go to your primary care physician. And maybe this is one of those situations whereby you can get away with a telehealth conference. But I'm saying this to you, please, huge warnings, warning, hear bells, hear sirens going off. Don't let the primary care physician treat you. What you need is a competent psychiatrist. Let me tell you why I'm saying this. I know you're saying, I'm not crazy, I know you're not crazy. But what I need for you to have, Frank, is the highest possible level of care. Let me explain why that is. Psychiatrists are board certified in psychiatry and neurology. Gee, is there a connection? Yeah. Because they are specialists in these fields. They work with medication day in and day out. Yeah. The pharmaceutical company says it's going to work like this, but my experience as a psychiatrist says, no, it actually works like that, okay? So there's a difference between a person who specializes in these medications and who can do the kind of interview and evaluation that says, well, you know, Frank, I think actually what you might be experiencing is a metabolic condition. Hey, maybe you have a thyroid problem. There we are. Then you go to an endocrinologist and they look at your thyroid. You just don't know. And if a person doesn't have the training and experience with these medications, they won't know how to say, gee, you're right, that's exactly it. Let's write a prescription for this. Let me tell you how this medication is going to work. Let me tell you when you need to maybe go to the emergency room because you're having side effects, or maybe when you should call me. You do not want to feel like a science experiment, Frank. You want someone to hit the right medication at mostly the right dose so that all you have to do is a little tweaking. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to look at, because attention deficit and language processing disorders seem to kind of overlap each other. Now here's the next part, because here's the story, Frank. You probably have about another 20 years to live. I want it to be the best 20 years of your life. Yeah, I know you're going to reach back to me and say, you know, Dr. Claudia, I should have done this earlier. Hey, none of that nonsense. We are not going to look back. We are looking forward, Frank. I want you to pay attention to that blog post I'm putting up, because it's also going to have a link to the American Speech Hearing Language Association. Okay. Now, you are going to go on there and you are going to look for people who are close to you. We don't want you driving all over the place and making this a nuisance. What I want you to do is pick out 3 speech and language therapists who are in your area. I want you to call all 3 of them, or maybe 2 of them. Pick one. Go sit down with them and say, this is what's happening to me. Do you think you can help? Now, a lot of speech and language therapists who work with adult populations work with people on the autistic spectrum and people who've had a stroke. So you need to let them know that you're a bit of a unicorn, that you're a 65-year-old man who is coming for the first time to be evaluated and treated for your language processing problems, if indeed you have them. But Frank, if you don't treat that ADHD first, you are not going to benefit from the language therapy. There are tricks, truly tricks, to learn how to handle language when people are talking to you. There are ways that are not humiliating to say, now repeat that again because that's really interesting to me. Okay? What you're saying is, I didn't really get all that, but what they're hearing is, wow, Frank is really interested in this. I love that we're having this great conversation. So if the language therapist says, Frank, we need to go through this assessment, it's going to take this long, whatever, invest in yourself. Language issues are considered to be medical necessities covered by insurance. You invest in yourself, Frank. I know you've missed opportunities to go to college. I know you've missed out on a lot, but that doesn't mean you have to miss out on one single satisfying second of the next 20 years of your life. This is the Dr. Claudia Show.
Dr. Claudia wants to hear from you. Ask your question. 833-400-5050. That's 833-400-5050. Or go online at drclaudia.net and click on the Ask Me button.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-506-6740. 800-506-6740. That's 800-506-6740.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. Here's what our customers had to say.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, a CGM can help you. It's accurate, easy to use, and if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping of your new CGM, and we can bill Medicare for you.
Honestly, I had my doubts, but that new CGM is painless.
Call now. 800-712-8002. 800-712-8002. 800-712-8002. That's 800-712-8002.
Welcome to the Dr. Claudia Show. Dr. Claudia is ready to answer your questions. Call now, 833-400-5050. Here's Dr. Claudia.
I'm Dr. Claudia McCulloch. I am a licensed psychologist. I am here to answer your questions. And actually, we are here 24/7, 365. Why? Because you can always go online at drclaudia.net, the Ask Me button. Even if you're a little shy and you don't want to call in, you can send in a question and then you can listen to the show for my answer. But I would love to talk to you because it is so fun to hear your voice. And besides, you're trapped inside. For the most part, things are lifting a bit. I agree with what that one doctor from Cedars-Sinai had to say, that the medical people in your community should be the ones lifting. They are the ones who know the truth about the rates of infection, rates of hospitalization, the amount of deaths in your community. That's what you need to look at. Does it matter to you if you live in Wyoming about the infection rates in New York Well, only if people are traveling into Wyoming from New York, and that's apparently how this whole thing really got started in America. So the good news is some things are feeling as though they're coming back to the more predictable, the more traditional. The NFL released its 2020 schedule, and the season should begin on September 10th. Somebody tell me how many days that is, okay? The colleges, I'm not so sure about, since it's such a huge moneymaker. I am not sure if they're going to actually be able to afford not airing their games, because they're not even sure how many kids are going to be showing up. Now, Joe Buck says that if the NFL returns with no fans in the stands, Fox is planning to put sound effects of a crowd in the background. The crowd doesn't do much for me. Does it for you? I want to see the players play, but I do think, and I know you agree with me, that the players do respond to what happens in the stands. I think that that they get excited when the crowd gets excited. Makes me think about spitting in sports. Baseball, usually we see a lot of that. Can't really do that on the basketball court. Ew. Football, can't really do that if you're wearing your helmet. So are they going to, they, meaning the authorities, are they going to outlaw spitting? Yeah, they're trying to outlaw everything else. Those of you who are avid runners, joggers, whatever you want to call yourselves, there was a jogger in Wuhan who ran miles wearing a mask, and they had a burst lung. I want you to talk with your doctor about the potential problems of wearing a mask while you're exercising like that. This guy may have had pre-existing conditions. It's not for everybody. But even neurologists are saying, be careful about letting that thing stay so tight on your face, because your brain may not be getting the oxygen that you need. Just little tidbits. I am here to help you in your life. You know what I say, the more you know, the smoother it will go. Here's Kelly. This is a fantastic question. If you have the little ones in your life, the 4, 5, 6-year-olds in your life, lean in and listen. This is important. She says, I'm wondering what kind of reaction we're going to get from our 4-year-old preschooler when he returns to school. He hasn't been since March. He turned 4 during this downtime. He's a bright little boy who was learning well before the pandemic struck. We've been working with him, and he has all of his basic learning skills down cold. We're mostly concerned about the social emotional reaction from being with us 24/7. Will he experience another separation anxiety episode? Yes. He is going to have some kind of stress response, which is going to look to you like a separation episode. He will be excited, so it's tough to tell which part of that is excitement, which part of that is anxiety. It all feels the same to the body. When you get excited and when you get afraid, you dump adrenaline, stress hormone. You dump cortisol if the stress gets too high. And all of that feels the same to the body. I'm nervous and jerky. My mouth is dry. I feel like I want to cry. I gotta pee, because those adrenal glands sit on top of your bladder. They have a little fat pad that they sit on. But yeah, you've never made that connection before? Okay, there we are. So Kelly, you need to prepare him. If you haven't started going out in the world, now is the time. Check your county Department of Health site to see what the infection rate looks like. See if you can get your ear put to the ground, what's going on in your neighborhood. Start taking him for walks outside And when you encounter your neighbors, ask them, have you been quarantining? Especially if they're older, you need to stay back because this really hits our elderly hard. And I don't think anybody's going to be concerned if you say, hey, have you been quarantining? We have been, make it a social thing, not a medical investigation. Now, in the summertime, which we're hitting next month, when I'm hoping that most of this infection is on the run because we have gotten out of our homes, you can start talking with maybe a few of the parents of his friends, see what they've been doing, what their plans are. Are they going back to the same preschool? If so, ask them, his pals, are you willing to have a play date at the park? Or maybe start doing a drive by the preschool and getting out of the car and kind of repeating what it was like to walk into the school. Now, once you have the date for him to attend, I want you to put up a large calendar so that he can see how many more days he has to wait until school starts. You need to go shopping, get him new clothes, 4-year-olds, please, they're weeds. Start with all of those typical preparatory activities to get him back into school. If he needs to go into the classroom, then do that. Maybe you can wear your masks, but he needs to see and feel kind of what's going on. Please don't tell him he's going to be fine. He's going to rent your emotional state and tell him, we're going back to school. Isn't this great? And if you give him a countdown, he'll know when it's time to go. This is the Dr. Claudia Show.
Dr. Claudia is ready to answer your questions. Call now, 833-400-5050. That's 833-400-5050.
You're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-506-6740. 800-506-6740. That's 800-506-6740.
Welcome to the Dr. Claudia Show. We're tickled pink to have you with us. So come on in and sit down. Let's talk about your life and relationships with your family, friends, neighbors, co-workers, well, soon, and your boss. Nobody's off limits. I'm licensed psychologist Dr. Claudia McCulloch, your host, answering your questions, America. Give me a call, 833-400-5050. Or go online at drclaudia.net. Click on the Ask Me button. On Facebook, I'm at Dr. Claudia McCulloch, McCulloch, cha-cha-cha. Let me answer Jenna's question very quickly. She shot over a question about what should I do? I have a child who is going to preschool for the first time, and she's been home with us for 24/7 since this whole thing started. Will she have a more intense anxiety response? You don't know. You don't know what the response was going to be, Jenna. So you're going to do what every other parent does, and it's gut-wrenching. You're going to take your child to school. You're going to hand her off to the teacher. You're going to kiss her goodbye. You're going to say, have fun. And you're going to turn around and leave. And yes, you will get into your car and cry. It's harder for us than it is for them. Because here's what's going to happen. The teacher, this has not been her first rodeo, right? The teacher will take your child who is screaming and wailing and crying and sit them down somewhere, and all the other little girls will come running over because already at 4, we're nurturing, we're mothers, and we're going to say, oh, it's okay, we have fun here. And the little boys will kind of just do their own thing. And when your child starts to breathe again, she'll notice that, oh, nobody else is crying. Oh, there might be some kids since kind of everybody's going back at the same time. And you will get in your car and you will go on your day. Because you're having to learn to separate as much as she is having to learn. This is not going to be the last time you send her off into an environment that you know is safe, but that it's distressing to her. Don't tell her that she's going to be fine. That's the F word. What you're going to tell her the next day is you're going to have some wonderful times there. And I know your friends are going to be happy to see you. Now, when kids get a little bit older, you use words like cope. You're going to be able to handle this. You can cope with this. Yes, I know you have to memorize a poem and stand up in front of the class. Remember that they rent your emotional state. These children are very young. They're powerless in many ways. They're not strong. They don't have problem-solving skills. And so their ability to pick up on your emotional state is like nothing else. And even if you are putting off those stress hormones, they're going to pick up on it. And when you pick up your child at school, you may not even have to, she's a girl, please. You may not even have to ask her, how was your day? Blah, 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 blah. The words are just going to start coming out of her. And I would encourage you to say things like, tell me the best part of your day. Who did you enjoy playing with the most? Those are called open-ended questions. They require your child to develop a response. It's not a yes-no type of thing. Well, yeah, you can say, did you like your lunch? No, I didn't like that stuff with the red top on it. It was disgusting, or whatever they're going to say. But you'll get the hang of this. It's just that you are going to have to be the one to really learn how to cope. As soon as your child starts going there and develops those relationships, you're going to have a tough time beating her to the punch in terms of getting out of the car. Kids, there she goes. Okay, here's Bahar. Now, Bahar has written to me several times, and she's obviously from a different culture, and she is struggling dramatically with her family, her husband's family. She feels to me like she's the identified victim in the family, and she's asking me again, I don't know how to deal with my husband's brother's wife. So the family is a large family. I think they interact intensely. She copies me a lot, and also she talks on my back in front of my in-laws. I tried to talk to her, but it got worse. I feel very stupid that have not divorced. I tried once. That caused my daughter attracted to a group of druggy friends. What do I do? Bahar, this is what I've said to you before. You are not going to make progress with this family. I know you said your daughter is 21 and your son is 16 previously. And so you've been married for a while. This is how they think of you. It is highly unlikely that they are ever going to change. Why is that? Because you allowed this to go on. Not your fault. You're from a different culture. You're living in America. And even American women allow this kind of thing to happen for a lot of reasons. But they don't value you. The only value you have to them is that they can pick on you without any consequences. I have encouraged you to see a therapist. Find a therapist who understands your culture. Talk with your doctor. Maybe your doctor can help you. I'm fairly certain that you probably go to a doctor who is from your culture. And talk with them about getting into therapy. This is not going to get any better because it's rewarding to these people when they can beat you down. You're being destroyed from the inside. I said before that this is soul murder. It's called emotional abuse. And life is an inside-out job. You know how people feel about themselves by the way they behave. Now, you said you didn't want to get a divorce, and you've said this before because of your children. Look at what you've done to your children by tolerating this. When children see a parent being brutalized, they develop depression. They are helpless and hopeless to do anything about it. And it's not that your thinking about getting a divorce drove your daughter to her druggy friends. She's likely to be experiencing depression. She's not in college. She's not moving forward with her life. She is hanging out with people who engage in drugs. And this is what's happened as a result of, very likely, of you not standing up for yourself. You helped to create an environment that was intolerable to her. She couldn't take it. So you get yourself into therapy and you learn how to get out of that situation. Because even though you thought you were doing the right thing by not getting a divorce, you kept your children in a situation that was terrible for them. And it's not going to be easy, but you're going to have to be smart. Bahar, you may have heard me say before, it's not where you start out that counts, but where you end up. This is the Dr. Claudia Show.
Dr. Claudia wants to hear from you. Ask your question. 833-400-5050. That's 833-400-5050. Or go online at drclaudia.net and click on the Ask Me button.
What kind of career are you looking for? Do you dream of using your creative talents in the movie business? How about the advertising world? Or would you rather work in fashion? At Academy of Art University, we can help you get the art and design skills and experiences that employers want. Hundreds of top companies in the Bay Area and around the world have hired graduates from the Academy. You'll be trained by professional faculty members that have worked in the industry, so your education is practical and focused on what real-world companies want. You can get your degree at our San Francisco campus or anywhere online. Do what you want to do with your life. Call right now to get more information.
800-811-4169. 800-811-4169. 800-811-4169. That's 800-811-4169. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. Here's what our customers had to say.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, a CGM can help you. It's accurate, easy to use, and if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping of your new CGM, and we can bill Medicare for you.
Honestly, I had my doubts, but that new CGM is painless.
Call now. 800-712-8002. 800-712-8002. 800-712-8002. That's 800-712-8002.
Welcome to the Dr. Claudia Show. Dr. Claudia is ready to answer your questions. Call now, 833-400-5050. Here's Dr. Claudia.
This is the Dr. Claudia Show. I am so thrilled that you're with us because we do have a family of friends. Okay, now think about that. That's not just a phrase. It's really what happens in life. Most of us live on average 2,000 miles away from our families of birth. We're missing out on a lot. So what do? We find friends and we bring them into our fold and they become our family of friends. Now, they're not going to replace your birth family unless, of course, the birth family needs to be replaced. But when we're a family, we ask questions, we share information, we share our joy and our sorrow, and that's what we do here on the Dr. Claudia Show. We are here to help. We are here around the clock, and lots of you go to the drclaudia.net website, and you listen to the parenting pointers, which are those little 60-second audio features. That's what they call it in the radio biz. And they play all over the United States, and they're 60 seconds worth of really interesting information that you can use to enhance your health, your life, be a better parent. Sometimes it's just such fascinating stuff, I have to tell you about it. Well, here's Junior. Junior says, I finally heard from my company about the schedule to return to work. There was a detailed do and do not do list, including not shaking hands, not touching anybody for any reason. Gee, I wonder what would happen if someone needed CPR. We need to continue to wear the masks, which I hate, and basically that no food can touch each other on the plate. Okay, Junior, you're one of those guys, aren't you? Oh, I should send you the guidelines about food in the fridge. You think we were the storage unit for deadly bacteria, but I digress. The list is so detailed and extensive that I feel the need to study it for several days and actually practice not extending my hand when I see my coworkers again. I've decided that I'll hold my hands together behind my back like my elderly Chinese neighbor when he walks around the block. No fist bumps, no high five, none of that. It's going to be interesting to watch us police one another. Will spies be paid to snitch on each other? What exactly are the consequences, Mr. COO, if we accidentally violate these safety precautions? How seriously, Dr. Claudia, should we take these precautions, and what in the world can we do to acknowledge each other instead of using that stupid elbow thing that's supposed to replace a handshake? Okay, well, that was entertaining, Junior. I bet you are the life of the office. I say that we should return to bowing. Why not? It's a sign of respect. And it was Thomas Jefferson who replaced bowing, which was something that you did to royalty. He replaced bowing in the White House with handshaking. And up until that time, believe it or not, wasn't all that long ago, bowing was the norm. You could do the namaste prayerful hands with a slight bow if that's more appealing to you. Probably a verbal greeting is best. The rest of it starts to get a little snarky. It is going to be difficult because our behavior is heavily influenced by the setting that we're in. So a business setting says handshake. Now, you're accustomed to seeing people in your office dressing in business attire, using appropriate business conduct, and I think the safest thing for both genders to do is to just verbally acknowledge. Handshakes used to be the safest thing. Sometimes when people would meet at a conference, they would hug or kiss or whatever. But as for the extensive list of rules, no, there won't be a test, Junior. I think of it in this way. I believe your company may have needed to cover themselves, so to speak, by generating a list of do's and don'ts. But honestly, if the list serves to keep people alert to the potential dangers of becoming too intimate too quickly, then go for it. Now, Junior, listen carefully to me on this. This is a complete reboot of your relationship with managerial staff and with your coworkers. Listen carefully to me. If you have been the class clown in the past, and you're still wondering, Junior, why you don't have the title on the door, the promotion, you need to think twice about reestablishing yourself as an adult in this picture. Show your maturity and your leadership skills. Stop with the snarky comments. People are going to be watching you. I want you to be reasonable and cautious because some folks likely have a different experience of this pandemic than you have. They may be highly anxious about it. And if you're snarky and you're joking around and you're being a jerk about this stuff, you're going to increase their anxiety. You do not want that. Every pandemic in history has had a second wave. The pandemic of the Spanish flu that hit this country hard, we had a third wave. Now, we are going to experience an uptick in infections and deaths, and we must keep our head about ourselves and use logic. Comfort the people who are overcome with anxiety and help them. Help them to problem solve their way out of it. Be an adult. Develop some neutral language. I have confidence that we can do this. Things are getting better, right? How can I help you? What do you want me to do to give you some support here? You need to reestablish yourself as an adult in a leadership position in this company. You will never have this chance again, Junior, and you might want to consider going by a different name. This is the Dr. Claudia Show.
What kind of career are you looking for? Do you dream of using your creative talents in the movie business? How about the advertising world? Or would you rather work in fashion? At Academy of Art University, we can help you get the art and design skills and experiences that employers want. Hundreds of top companies in the Bay Area and around the world have hired graduates from the Academy. You'll be trained by professional faculty members that have worked in the industry, so your education is practical and focused on what real-world companies want. You can get your degree at our San Francisco campus or anywhere online. Do what you want to do with your life. Call right now to get more information.
800-811-4169. 800-811-4169. 800-811-4169. That's 800-811-4169.
Welcome to the Dr. Claudia Show. Dr. Claudia is ready to answer your questions. Call now, 833-400-5050. Here's Dr. Claudia.
This is the Dr. Claudia Show, and we are here with real help for your life because people send in questions of situations that we know happen. We've watched them happen to us and to other people, so live and learn. Here we go. Here's Polly. Polly says this is one of those situations that even I can't believe if it didn't happen to me. I'm pretty much through most of the shock of it all now. What I'm looking for is the why behind the what, as you say. I've also worked hard to apply your life rule of everything happens in my best interest, and I'm real clear on that part in this situation. Now, if I can only get my head to speak the same language as my heart, I'll make even more progress. Here's the story. I was shopping for an outfit for Memorial Day because our friends are going to have an end of the pandemic cookout. Sounded like great fun. I was in the dressing room trying on this adorable little romper when my boyfriend of 2 years called. He was hemming and hawing, and he asked me to stop shopping because he wouldn't be able to make it to the party. I asked him what all of the road noise was about, and he said he was driving a U-Haul truck out of state. The bottom line is that he waited until the end of the lockdown to move. He had everything arranged, and that it was torture having to pretend in our relationship until he could leave. And, oh yeah, I took a little money out of your account and I'll send you a check. Sure you will. It was $600, not a small amount, especially in this economic nightmare. What exactly happened here? Okay, I am right about that. Everything happens in your best interest, even if it is incredibly painful, even if there's no way logic can apply, because you haven't lived the rest of your life. That whole idea, I really think I base that on the whole idea of when your parents used to say God closes a door and opens a window or opens another door or whatever. If you don't get rid of where you are, if you don't take a step out of where you are, you don't see the opportunities. The why behind the what here is that he's a coward, Polly. He's dishonest. He's untrustworthy. He's a coward. He has no ethics, no pride, no sense of responsibility, no integrity. And this book I'm writing about asking those critical questions, not so much to decide if you're going to dump somebody, but to say if this is going to be a long-term relationship and maybe even a marriage, I need to know about these kinds of things. I need to know about who you were as a kid, what kind of trouble you got into. Now, I think this guy's probably a sociopath. I think he's probably had a little Sally on the side in order to keep his options open. He's a wheeler dealer. He's a con man. And you didn't see it because you didn't know what questions to ask. Now, I'm not saying that this is, an ongoing interview of sorts. But in this book that I'm working on, I teach you ways to extract this information without really being so obvious about it. But he is unable to deal with intense emotions, especially the emotions of someone, that's you, who can't do anything for him anymore. He has tested the waters, and you really can't do anything for him. And now he had a cushy place to ride out the storm, and when the clouds broke, he made a run for it. Now he's going to go. Just listen to me on this. Listen to me on this, because I'm pretty sure this is going to happen. He's going to go to another state, and maybe he thinks that will keep you from filing a police report about the money. Do it anyway. Now, he may come back someday, and you want to be on record with the complaint in case he shows back up. By the way, do you think he has your Social Security number? You need to lock down everything that this guy could get his grimy little paws on, because he will take it. Now, those of you who are out there, and suddenly this is going plink, plink in your head, you need to make sure that if you're in a long-term relationship, that you get the Social Security number. Because you just never know when you're going to have to report someone for something. I know you're saying, oh, Dr. Claudia, I can't be that pessimistic. I'm not asking you to be pessimistic. I'm asking you to be realistic. Do you listen to the show? People who've been married for 15, 16 years, they've got teenagers, and suddenly, whammo, bammo, life changes. There's no money. The house is being foreclosed on because she didn't make the mortgage payments with the money. Oh, yeah. So I'd report theft to all of your accounts, and he might be actually waiting to see how aggressive you get about the $600. Get it all locked down. Now change your locks, cancel your credit cards, get new ones. What a pain in the neck. Or in my family, we call it a PITA. You can figure out what that last word is. Pain in the, Do you have any joint accounts with him? Check those. Everything's gone from that. Now, he's likely to have told his former workplace that he has to leave because you're a stalker. So don't even bother trying to get any information from them. If you have his social, he can be found as soon as he takes any job. Treat him, Polly, like the criminal that he is. He's a criminal. Now, get in to see your doctor. Get checked for any of the diseases he could have left behind. And here, I'm hearing you. I know what you're saying. The other women out there are going, Polly, please, get in there. But no, you're trusting, and you should have been. Because there were no signs, because you didn't know how to read the signs, Polly. So check to make sure he hasn't left anything deadly behind. And don't say, oh, he wasn't like that, he wasn't cheating. Yes, he was. Don't even go there. Your friends may know his whereabouts. And if one of your friends suddenly moves, guess where she's moving to? Don't ask your friends about him. Do not do that. He's only the mud you've washed off your feet. If your friends offer something, okay. But considering that he has no morality, no conscience, no ethics, no compassion, personal skills, please, he doesn't have any of those. Tell me again why you thought this guy was so great. At usually the 2.5-year mark, the engagement happens. Yeah, you know what's coming next. You get yourself into a therapist, Miss Polly, to find out why you did not see this tsunami coming from a distance. You have got to get your radar tuned. And thank your lucky stars he's gone. Betcha he'll be back when he realizes the grass isn't greener and that life was pretty good back home. Yeah, right. You give me the $600 in cash. I want to see 6 crisp $100 bills, or your tush is going to the pokey, baby. This is the Dr. Claudia Show.
Dr. Claudia wants to hear from you. Ask your question. 833-400-5050. That's 833-400-5050. Or go online at drclaudia.net. and click on the Ask Me button.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-506-6740. 800-506-6740. That's 800-506-6740.
Are you from California, Illinois, New York, Georgia, or any of the other 39 states that charge state income tax? Does your state claim you owe them any amount of back taxes? Or have you not filed in years? Is your heart pounding because you know they're wrong or you just don't have the money? Don't fight the state income tax board alone. The tax doctor is here to help you. The state is much more aggressive than the IRS in collecting taxes. They have the power to take your home, your car, your driver's and business licenses, even garnish your wages, freeze your bank accounts, and go after your spouse. Solve all your income tax problems permanently and keep more of your hard-earned money. Make this 100% guaranteed risk-free call right now.
800-262-4182. 800-262-4182. 800-262-4182. That's 800-262-4182.
Welcome to the Dr. Claudia Show. Dr. Claudia is ready to answer your questions. Call now, 833-400-5050. Here's Dr. Claudia.
Thank you for joining us. I refer to myself as a halfway house homebound person. I'm halfway homebound at this point. I'm actually going out and going to the grocery store, still wearing the mask, but it feels like there's more people out, and people's moods seem to be somewhat lifted, so this is pretty good. So how are you going to spend your 3-day weekend since you're going to be off from work on Monday? That's not funny. It is Memorial Day. It's a really serious day around my house because my family has been in the military. And it has the Memorial Day holiday itself has had a long and distinguished career history. It started as an acknowledgement of those who lost their lives in the Civil War. What does that tell you about how long it is, how long it's enjoyed acknowledgement? It became a federal holiday in 1971. Yeah, that's how long it took them. Not going to be having the usual parades and all, but let me tell you this. Tune into PBS on May 24th. They are going to be having the National Memorial Day Concert. National Memorial Day Concert the night before Memorial Day, so we're looking at Sunday night. Includes documentary footage and dramatic reading that honor military service. Do you ever wonder what language we would be speaking? What our traditions would look like? What our foods would look like? The way we dress? Just our culture in general. If people had not gotten up, dressed up, shown up to fight for the freedoms that you enjoy, look at what we're experiencing. Yeah, we haven't had the freedom to go to the movies, to get a haircut, to get a massage, a pedicure, a manicure, to go shopping, to be with our friends and our family on Mother's Day, their birthdays. Weddings have been canceled. That's just a tiny taste of what it would be like if people, young and older, had not done what their country asked of them. Yes, I know there have been periods where people went to war and it wasn't their choice. They were drafted. But they went to war anyway, and they did what they were asked to do. Just ponder that a little bit. Monday is not another day to not get up and go to work. It is a day to just take a moment and think about the sacrifices of some families. I'm going to finish up with Elaine. Her question here is, boy, have you heard this before? How many times have you heard this before and you just wanted to slap him across the face and say, what is wrong with you? Don't even bother asking. You know he doesn't have an answer. And women can pull this kind of nonsense too. Elaine says, in March, when the lockdown got serious, my new relationship ended. Yes, he sent me an email detailing all of the things he didn't like or enjoy about me, and that we weren't a good fit. Some of it was kind of cruel. I never responded. The relationship was not old enough for me to be that invested or even offended by his comments. Meh. I was pleased that I didn't think about what happened or his email and thought, moving on. Now that the lockdown is lifting and America seems to be waking up, I got another email from him saying he's reconsidered. Love that. He said that we should be friends, that we're more compatible as friends, and that this is what mature people do. What do you think about this kind of offer? Now, she put this word offer in quotes, and I say, don't behave in such a way that you're going to need bail money, Elaine, but pass on this offer. And just kind of as a quick aside here, this is what mature people do. Do you know what that is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 words. 6 words that tell you something. He is trying to shame and humiliate you by complying with his request. And you know that words are the first step in abuse, right? Yeah. Everything happens in your best interest, right? Now, I've heard it said many times, if you are ever been lovers, you can never be friends. Who makes up this kind of junk? This kind of thing completely depends on the people involved. Who cares what other people do? Do you want to be a friend with this guy? Then be a friend. But seriously, I would be very disappointed in you, Elaine, if you ever had anything to do with this guy again. There are some sayings that are meant to inspire us, like getting back on the horse or whatever. But listen, this guy conducted himself in all the wrong ways, and now he's trying to manipulate you. Sending you a list of all of your inadequacies. So here's the deal. He's a narcissist, probably a sociopath. My recommendation is that you stay away from him. You do not want to be involved with people who are conditional. You need quality people in your life, people who respect and trust you, know your worth, people who support you, someone who really helps you to further your life. Don't bother with this guy. Done and done, learned your lesson. You're right. You really didn't spend all that much time with him anyway. Okay, just a little wisdom from Joe Namath. Yeah, Joe Willie. Here we go. If you aren't going all the way, why go at all? Indeed, Joe. Indeed. This is the Dr. Claudia Show.
The Dr. Claudia Show educates and informs. No therapeutic relationship is established between the listener and Dr. Claudia. No liability will be assumed by Dr. Claudia or this station for any alleged damage. For professional help, please consult a specialist.
Are you from California, Illinois, New York, Georgia, or any of the other 39 states that charge state income tax? Does your state claim you owe them any amount of back taxes? Or have you not filed in years? Is your heart pounding because you know they're wrong or you just don't have the money? Don't fight the state income tax board alone. The tax doctor is here to help you. The state is much more aggressive than the IRS in collecting taxes. They have the power to take your home, your car, your driver's and business licenses, even garnish your wages, freeze your bank accounts, and go after your spouse. Solve all your income tax problems permanently and keep more of your hard-earned money. Make this 100% guaranteed risk-free call right now.
800-262-4182. 800-262-4182. 800-262-4182. That's 800-262-4182.